You ever meet someone so smug, so entitled, so absolutely allergic to being a decent human being? That karma feels like it's taking too long? Well, I didn't wait. Because when my pregnant friend was being screamed at, degraded, and ordered around by her spoiled man-child of a boyfriend, I decided to give him a birthday he would never forget. Let's just say it involved a Walmart parking lot, 100 pounds of vintage porn, and enough industrial tape to wrap a house, and yes, he drove home in it. Let me set the stage. Several years ago, my late wife and I were close with a friend. We'll call her Kot. She was smart, funny, loyal. One of those people whose kindness is so natural, it makes you feel protective of them. Unfortunately, she was dating a guy who, if I'm being generous, had the emotional maturity of a wet sock. We'll call him Dork. Now, Dork wasn't just your everyday jerk. He was the kind of guy who acted sweet as pie around his family, then turned into a discount dollar store villain the moment no one was looking. Never took responsibility. Never lifted a finger. Expected the world to wait on him hand and foot. He was what happens when a grown man is raised like the prince of Mom Still Does My Laundry, Land, and Cot. Bless her heart, always tried to see the good in him. She made excuses, brushed off his behavior, tried to understand him, my wife and I. We bit our tongues. We voiced our concerns gently, but we didn't push. Until the day Kat found out she was pregnant. That's when everything spiraled. Because somehow, becoming a father didn't make Dork grow up, it made him worse. He became snappier, crueler, more demanding. It's like responsibility scared him, so he took it out on the one person who deserved it the least. Kot would call us crying, telling us about the names he called her, the screaming, the silent treatments. And then the tire incident happened. One night, they got a flat on the way home. Kot, pregnant, exhausted, and nauseous, asked Dork to handle it. This man, this biological adult, told her, "Just do it." I'm not getting dirty. I swear I felt my blood pressure spike just from hearing the story. But I wasn't going to let that stand. When I arrived, she was literally crouched by the car, struggling with the lug nuts while Dork was sitting in the passenger seat scrolling on his phone like a bored toddler. I changed the tire myself. Didn't even look at him, because if I did, I might have used the tire iron for something less holy. After that night, something changed. Kot was done. We were done. And somewhere deep in my soul, a particularly devious, chaotic little idea sparked. All it needed was the right opportunity, and oh, the universe delivered. During this time, my wife and I owned a Foot Locker, a big, heavy metal trunk we kept tucked away in the closet. Inside, our private collection. Let's call it the Archive of Adult Education. But then my dad, God bless that man, decided to pass down his collection, decades of biker magazines. Some of the most aggressively unsexy, scratch and sniff quality vintage porn the world has ever seen. Some issues were so old they probably predated color printing, some were weird, surreal, or just plain cursed. But they were glorious in their own terrible way. Now we had a Foot Locker filled to the brim, about 100 pounds of pure, unadulterated, time-traveling smut. And I remember thinking, this is too much power for one man. Then Kot called. Her voice was shaking with rage. She told us she'd had enough of Dork's crap, enough disrespect, enough manipulation, enough being treated like a doormat. His birthday was in a few days. He'd be working his night shift at Walmart. And he always parked right up near the front, right by the doors, where all the night shift managers hung out on break. "Please," she said, "help me do something." And suddenly, the Archive of Adult Education called to me. It whispered, "Use us. Use us for justice." So we made a plan. On the night of Dork's birthday, we loaded my car with the Foot Locker of vintage biker porn, 2 rolls of industrial grade, double-sided packing tape from the machine shop, enough petty motivation to power the eastern seaboard. We drove to Walmart, parked next to Dork's car, and waited until the coast was clear. The moment it was quiet, we popped my trunk. The Foot Locker creaked open like it was the Ark of the Covenant, except instead of holy light, it unleashed the unmistakable musk of 30 years of motorcycle-themed debauchery. And then we started taping. Grid pattern, every single window, even the windshield. Industrial double-sided tape sticks like it's trying to bond with your soul. This wasn't coming off without a fight. Then we began decorating. Not with the classics, not with the tasteful ones. Oh no. We went straight for the weirdest, raunchiest, most unsettling covers we could find. Ones that made you question the photographer's life choices. Ones that made you doubt your own. Ones that would haunt a man at night. We layered them, we tiled them. We practically wallpapered the car with decades of smut. His car wasn't a car anymore. It was a cocoon of shame, a mobile museum of adult disappointment, a Smutmobile. When we finished, we stepped back and admired our masterpiece. Then we ran, like thieves in the night. Which, to be fair, we sort of were. Around 2 a.m. I heard an engine. Not just any engine, an engine wheezing in humiliation. Dork pulled up in what used to be his car and was now a rolling adult-themed collage. He had only managed to rip a small hole in the windshield, S-porn layer just big enough to see through. He looked like a man driving a tank made of sin. He stormed to my front door and pounded on it. I opened it casually. "Hey, happy birthday," I said. He barged past me toward the bedroom, furious, and found caught inside getting a back massage from my wife, who looked up and said cheerfully, "Happy birthday, dork." He sputtered. He raged. He demanded answers. We just smiled. Justice was already done. The next part of the story? That's the part that still makes me laugh, according to our friends who worked there. The Walmart night managers were so delighted by Dork's Smutmobile that they pulled people off truck unloading just to help clean it. It became an event, a spectacle, a company-wide attraction. But here's the best part. The tape didn't come off. Industrial double-sided tape does not surrender. They scrubbed it. They scraped. They cursed the heavens. Nothing worked. The windows had to be replaced. Yes, his mom had to pay for entirely new windows and a new windshield. Because the car was basically laminated in horny biker culture. For years, people talked about that night. It turned into local legend, and Dork? He still works at that same Walmart, still parks far away, still avoids me like the plague. Which is fair. I'd probably avoid me too. When I think back to that night, the part that sticks with me isn't the porn or the tape or the ridiculousness of it all. It's the moment Kat finally stood up for herself. The moment she chose respect over fear. The moment she realized she deserved better. Our revenge wasn't just about humiliating a jerk. It was about reminding her that she had people in her corner. It was the night she stopped feeling powerless. And let me tell you, seeing her smile for the first time in weeks, that was the real payoff. Sometimes justice doesn't show up wearing armor and carrying a sword. Sometimes it shows up in the form of a 100-pound footlocker full of vintage smut. But when someone mistreats a person you love, you stand up, you speak out, and occasionally, you get a little creative. If you enjoyed this roller coaster of revenge, hit that like button and subscribe for more wild stories just like this. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying payback you've ever seen? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.